What's up everybody, it's Paz, and today we are going to be going over Beebo, the newest addition to SUPERVIVE at the time of recording this video. He is such a fun little guy that shoots other little guys at his opponents, bonks them with a bat, and crashes them into walls with his Bugatti. So using my experience, learning other characters like Oath and Zeph to their highest potential of their skill ceilings, let's talk about what Beebo's abilities are capable of, the items and powers he gets the most out of, and wrap it all together by discussing his role alongside the rest of the cast. Starting off with Beebo's passive, we have his Matter Ball that rolls beneath him and allows him to roll over hazards like water and lava unharmed, which is an absolute game changer in some niche situations around the map. This allows him to actually want to play in places like Mage Bog in the water or in the lava in Chaos Steps, since enemies will be forced into a disadvantageous position if they choose to run at him in the process. Overall, this is a passive that seems small, but will be important to play around for Beebo. On top of this, Beebo is 10% lighter than other hunters, meaning knockback affects him more. Just keep that in mind when you're playing against hunters like Bishop and Oath that typically want to knock you into walls. Now let's move on to Beebo's LMB, which is his bat. You can either tap or charge the bat for different swinging actions. When tapping the bat, Beebo bops enemies upside the head, dealing minor damage and applying a slow that stacks up to 3 times. When holding the bat, Beebo will charge up until he flashes, where he will then do significant damage and knock whomever he ends up hitting backwards. If he manages to hit someone into a wall, they are stunned, just like if you bonk someone into a wall on Oath, only this stun seems to be a little bit longer. What is really cool is that you can launch not just enemy players, but wisps and your bomb as well, which acts as a way to secure picks by repositioning rather than just stomping. Super cool and versatile, which is a key characteristic to Beebo. If you were looking for a ranged skill shot, look no further than his right click, Zeep Zeep, which is essentially Beebo launching his little friends at you with a slingshot. Get ready though, there is a lot to unpack here. When tapping right click, Beebo launches out the current Zeep Zeep that is circling around his character. You can cycle through all of the different Zeep Zeeps by holding down the slingshot before firing. Let's go over all of the Zeep Zeeps. The first Zeep is the Fire Zeep that creates a burning field on impact that anti-heals enemies while dealing damage over time. Pretty sweet. The next Zeep is the Ice Zeep that creates icy cliffs that crack over time if shot over the abyss and grounds enemies if hit directly. The third Zeep is the Heal Zeep that heals friendlies when shot at. When shot at enemies and hit, the Zeep will bounce off of them, allowing it to be picked up by anyone, even enemies, so be careful. The last Zeep is the Pull Zeep that pulls enemies towards you if you hit them with it, but doesn't do damage. If Beebo uses it on a wall, Beebo will be pulled towards the wall. Now there is one more Zeep that can be randomly pulled, the Super Zeep, that I kind of correlate to the level 3 Hammer Strike from Mr. Game & Watch in Super Smash Bros. It doesn't come up often, but when it does and you hit an enemy, it blasts them to Narnia and does some pretty insane damage. This Zeep will radiate wild colors when it is available. You'll know when it's different. The way you want to use Beebo's Zeep Zeep launching ability depends on the situation though. The way that the pellets cycle is not consistent either, so there is no way to know what is coming next. Realistically, you have to be able to think on your feet and reduce how much time you are sitting and waiting for it to cycle, as it will make you a lot less consistent on the character. That being said, the time to cycle for a specific Zeep is right before a fight when you are looking for a specific Zeep. Maybe you will have an angle on a low health target, so you want to burn them for an anti-heal. Maybe you need some space over the abyss with ice, or maybe you are getting looked at by a brawl and need to escape with your Pull Zeep. It is all going to come down to practice and getting comfortable with the character, which is going to take quite some time, believe me. It's also really easy to run out of mana by just shooting these around, especially if you level this ability to level 3, so if you plan on doing that, make sure you run a Mind Blade. You'll thank me later. Next, we are going to be talking about his dash, the Shwoop. Yes, that is what it is called, the Shwoop. I swear I cannot take Beebo seriously. This character is just too funny, but I'll keep trying for the sake of this video. Upon using the Shwoop, Beebo launches himself forward, giving himself a decaying speed boost that does not stack if you use it more than once. It just merely resets the speed boost. The dash is on a relatively short cooldown, and as a result, should be used in anticipation alongside the Pull Zeep to constantly be positioning oneself optimally throughout the fight. The main weakness of Beebo is that he does not have a lot of mobility outside of his ultimate, so the moment that he gets caught, he's probably dead no matter if you have the health or not. Make sure to use your speed boost wisely and don't get caught. I don't really see myself maxing my dash ever on Beebo. It's usually just going to be his E, so let's talk about that, the Bee Bomb. Upon using the cooldown, Beebo throws down a bomb that slowly grows in size until it's at its maximum potential, where it can then be pressed again to explode. It can be shot down by enemies, but it does stick to them if they get close enough. This isn't all though. You can use the bomb with the environment or his bat to fire the bomb at people to press it and explode it on multiple enemies. This kind of combo works with powers like bungee, teleporters. The possibilities are endless, and this is your main damage source as a result. You cannot use the bomb on yourself to propel yourself any further or anything. You can only really use the bomb for damage and self-peel against enemies, so just keep that in mind and keep the enemy away. I also just figured out while I was recording this part that you can pick up the bomb once it is on the ground if you don't like where you put it to reset the cooldown. On top of this, the internal cooldown for the Bee Bomb also starts once the bomb is at its maximum size, as indicated on the right hand side of your screen. This means that you can put a bomb down early in the fight on top of yourself to peel for yourself, push it around a little bit with your bat, throw it at an enemy, and then immediately put another one down. This is pretty insane and will be a cornerstone of the character for quite some time. This is the ability I tend to max because you are going to do so much damage with it and get it so much faster if you are consistent at hitting just 1 or 2 targets each time with it. It does take practice just like everything else with Beebo's kit because he is pretty tricky, but it is super satisfying to utilize. Last but certainly not least, we have the Tonk Tonk. In other words, Beebo's Bugatti. Oi! Upon using the ultimate, Beebo hops into a Bugatti and picks up his enemies and allies that happen to be in his way and takes them on a high-speed chase. Enemies that are hit are stunned once, and then they can be stunned again if the car hits a wall, taking some pretty significant damage in the process. The damage that they take does not go up the faster the car is going, just that they are hit by the car to begin with and then hit into a wall. Turning the car will make the Bugatti go a little bit slower, but it is still fast enough to steer into a wall. Beebo can jump out of the car by either jumping, dashing, or pressing the ultimate button again, sending everyone in the direction the car was going when you hop down. The main things I realized about this ultimate is that it has a really short cooldown for an ultimate. It's only a bit more than 20 seconds when you have a tech item, and the ability is at level 2 when you reach level 8. Keep this in mind when playing against Beebo, that you can only really have 20 seconds to get on top of him after he uses this ability before he's sending you on another Uber of death on his Bugatti. Furthermore, this ultimate can be comboed with abilities like Celeste's ultimate to absolutely decimate unsuspecting teams, especially in the desert if they are not ready. Now, while it does look very cool, you have to be careful not to get carried away because it is very easy to put yourself in a bad position once the Bugatti explodes since you don't have a lot of mobility on Beebo, remember? So the main thing you need to be thinking about with this ability is picking up people fast and sending them to their demise without you in the cart quickly before you send it, instead of just going in and praying that it works. It is very easy to get caught out on a joyride with his Bugatti, so think before you do something stupid. Sometimes though, you just need to be handed the keys and ride your way to victory, so respect. So now let's transition into the items and powers that make Beebo insane. So in terms of leveling up, this one is still a little bit in the works, but I typically like to start with something like my bomb to try to get a lot of damage on the first mob pack, although he doesn't really have any great options for level 1 in terms of killing that first mob pack. Then I usually get my dash, my Zeep Zeep at level 3, and then I typically get my Bee Bomb again for level 2 at level 4, but then I could also see maybe wanting to get that dash cooldown so you don't die as easily. This one's really up to you. So typically I do bomb, get my ult at level 5, then at level 6, it's either the dash or the right click, probably the dash. Level 7 is going to have to be maxing my bomb, and then it's going to be ultimate into the Zeep Zeep launcher. Personally, I don't think Zeep Zeep launcher is anything about damage. It's nothing about getting it out super fast as early as possible. I think it's fine to max that at level 7. But for me, it's mostly about the utility I'm getting out of Zeep Zeep, not the raw damage I'm getting out of it. The damage is really coming from the Bee Bomb, in my opinion. Now, because of this playstyle, if you wanted to go for a Zeep Zeep launcher style, you need the Mind Blade. I personally want the Mind Blade no matter what, even if I can get another augment on my Mana Blade. Typically, I'm just going for Mind Blade, so that's always going to be the first option. And then this is where things get kind of interesting. Before, I wanted to use the Turbo Booster, which is the one that once you dash, you get 50% movement speed decaying over time. I thought that was really nice, although because of all of the movement techs that you can learn on Beebo to make him a little faster and like dash gliding, you can use the the V-hop tech on him if once you get really good with it. I'm still practicing it, but once you get that down, I don't really see the need for strictly movement speed as much. So that's where I usually get the interweavers, the power users, the tech blade. Now here's the thing. What's really nice about the new weapon system is the fact that you actually could just get a random augment that is really good on your tech blade. For example, you can get maybe a turbo booster tech blade. That's an option. And honestly, that's really good. You get the tech and you also get the dash speed that you wanted out of that. You could also get maybe a tech swift blade that makes it so you can do more damage, or maybe a tech last stand. Those are all really good options if you can gamble for it. But the thing is, they're not consistent. So I'm not going to be telling you guys, hey, try to build for this every game. I mean, if you get it, great. If you don't, I mean, it is what it is. It's not going to make or break your build. Personally, I just really like the cooldown time because it makes the ultimate not as long of a cooldown. It makes it 25 seconds instead of like 30 to 35, which makes it so you can be a lot more active with bomb and ultimate. Now, okay, now we're going to be talking about a little bit more about the powers that I like to build on Beebo, because realistically, there's a lot that actually are pretty good with them that I didn't realize until I did testing in game. So realistically, I'm thinking like green powers, nothing like too crazy here. You have a green thumb. Let me kill this bomb real quick. You have green thumb, you have bear eater, that combo. You have some other utility powers in green. Nothing really to note from the green powers, and that really goes for every character. But then with blue, things get pretty interesting. I mean, rally's pretty nice if you're going to try to play in Mage Bog with your team because of your passive. It's pretty strong. I always love a good brush boar. I always like a good rescue turtle, which you can actually use on your bomb, by the way, because it does count as an entity. You can throw it back, people will come in, and then boom, you self-peel for yourself. I think that is extremely fun. Not really something you're gonna do every game. It's niche, but you could catch people off guard with it, which I think is really cool. Anti-Moby field is always just really good, stopping people from dashing on your team. I mean, I'm never gonna complain if someone's gonna be running that on your team. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff too that you can use to make the kit of Beebo really cool and fun in different interactive ways. You could even probably twister blast your bomb if you really want to into an enemy backline. If you throw it down in a place that you don't like, you could probably just be like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna throw this in. Actually, it looks like you can't. So you know what, we debunked that while we were watching, which is kind of crazy that that doesn't work. I wish it would. That would be super dope. But okay, moving on to the purple powers. I personally don't think invis is gonna be super great on Beebo. I mean, it's not bad, but the thing is, you're not gonna be able to really dash. It's good on void. It could be good on Beebo, but I think other things like a grappling hook or hover wings to get closer, or maybe GA, since you're going to be in the back, it's going to be pretty darn good. On top of really bungee shot for any play that you maybe want to do with Beebo. I'm sure the bomb would also work with this. It's a little finicky when it works. I mean, it's a little hard to control, but if you get good with it, I could see it being pretty strong. Something I really like, though, on any character is going to be the sand wall, especially Beebo, just because it continues to help you get people off of you so you can continue doing the things that you really want. Now, there's one sleeper pick that I really want to show with Beebo's ultimate, which is the deployable fan. This one, shout out to Paria for telling me, this one's pretty fun as well because it for sure makes it so that enemies cannot react to what you're going to do. If you ult while the thing is charging up, look how fast you go. I mean, that's another combo that you have with powers, and I'm sure there's a lot that I'm missing with Beebo, but realistically, these are all things that you can do on the character with powers that make it absolutely insane. We already highlighted the stuff like Rewinder, like Blinkstone, like Team Frog Jump. All of this stuff is really good. This is the one invis I really do like. Delicate Disguise on Beebo is really good because you don't have to worry about losing mana. Overall, though, there's a lot of powers that make Beebo really, really interesting and fun to play. It's just you have to be able to use any of these powers because you never know what you're going to get next in a game, and that's really important that you stay versatile on realistically the most versatile character in the game. So now that we understand the powers and the items that are good with them, we have to start talking about where does Beebo really fit in with the rest of the cast. In my opinion, Beebo is the anti-melee character that we've been needing in SUPERVIVE for a while. The problem is it's really difficult to execute this character to his maximum potential, especially since there's so many things that can stop him, like Oath, like Zeph, like even Brawl can still realistically just get on top of him. So being efficient with cooldowns here is the name of the game with Beebo. Specifically, I do think he was made to make Brawl struggle. He just kind of struggles with doing that right now because no one's really good at him yet, myself included. I'm still getting there mechanically with him, but I see the vision that they were doing with this character. In terms of what his role is, I really think he's just like another Void. He wants to control space and enable teammates by shaping the situation with bombs and his Zeep launcher. That being said, he does struggle against characters like Oath that can just block all that he's trying to control. It makes it very difficult for him to get started and get stuff doing. Eventually, he will crumble if the control is not followed up by the rest of his team, which is why this character might feel kind of weak in solo queue, but I promise you, I do not think this character is as weak as others have been saying, and I'm sure I'm going to make a video on the alternate channel soon discussing why I think all of these things. But overall, I don't think Beebo is bad. I don't think he's OP. I think he is the perfect release character, and we're going to see where the devs iterate him from here. So let me know what you guys all think about Beebo. Do you love him, hate him, or do you think he's just so hard to play even after this guide? Let me know. I will still be playing Beebo on Twitch at twitch.tv/PazSwagger, as well as live here on this YouTube channel if you want to watch me try to learn this character more and more as the days go on. But I thank you guys all so much for watching. But until next time, I've got to peace out and Paz out. I'll see you in the next one.